Welcome back to Colts Law. I'm Lawrence Owen. With me, as usual, is my boy Colts Loyalist. And today we have an interesting topic that I thought that we'd get together and discuss. Injuries. Every team has injuries every freaking year. You just got to deal with them. And the most important situation, you just pray. Every team in the NFL prays that their starting quarterback makes it through the season and postseason, right? I mean, that's just something that, but what if, I mean, every year you have starting like big time quarterbacks that end up getting hurt and can't play, right? So, what happens if an AFC team, one of those top contenders goes out? That would be devastating, would it not, Chuck?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we remember what was it, week 3 when we weren't even sure if Carson with his ankles was going to be able to play, and we were looking at two young rookies or second year, basically a rookie, going, okay, lead the team, and it was like, wasn't the most soothing of feelings, let me tell you.
No, absolutely not. So this specific video that we are going to put out, I posted a tweet about this earlier today, and I was like, let's do a video about this, right? Let's do a video. My tweet specifically said, if their team loses quarterback one for the season, week 1 this year, which AFC team has the best shot of still making the playoffs with their backup? And I dropped a huge list, of a lot of playoff caliber teams and their backup quarterbacks. Well, this is where we're going to look at. Let's look at which teams in the NFL, in the AFC, that is, that we believe still probably could make the playoffs even with their backup starting the entire season. And Chuck, I'm gonna send it over to you, Mr. Loyalist, and you talk about the Indianapolis Colts on a daily basis. I want to know, could the Indianapolis Colts still be a playoff contender even with Nick Foles as the starting quarterback week 1?
Well, and see, and that's a great question, because you sit there and you look at Nick Foles has been most successful in his productivity and stuff whenever he's spelling for one game, 2 game, half, I mean, even the Eagles Super Bowl run, it was only like 5 or 6 games, he's never done really well whenever it's the long grind of the season. And I don't fully understand that, I mean, but then again, you look at the teams where he's been the starting quarterback, the Bear, and then you had the Jacksonville Jaguars with 2 G's. So those guys weren't really teams that I felt like were going to be successful, even with their starting quarterback or whatever, I think we would be okay, because here again, this roster is so loaded. Okay. I honestly believe that Chris Ballard has said that he never wants to make this about just one player. And I feel like this roster is that situation. We can win with a quarterback that just doesn't lose games for us. So I would say, hopefully speaking, yes, because I was really high on getting Nick Foles as a backup.
Well, could they still win their division with Nick Foles as the quarterback?
See, and there again, what does Tennessee look like? How quickly can they replace the loss of Brown and stuff? These are questions. Would I be happy about it? No. Does it close the window to that opportunity? No. But there again, I think that it would definitely tighten the race up between the Titans. Because right now, I think the Colts are about a 1 or 2 game lead right now. But I mean, you put Nick Foles and take Matt Ryan out, all of a sudden that 1 and 2 game lead shrinks up quickly.
Absolutely. I want to go ahead and move over. I'm personally going to discuss the Denver Broncos because they are looked at right now as a team that has definitely got playoff aspirations with Russell Wilson as the starting quarterback. But, what if he goes down in preseason or week 1 and they have to start Brett Rippon or Josh Johnson at quarterback? Could they still do it? And I'm not so sure that they could. When you're looking at running backs and stuff like that, sure, they've got a little stable of Javonte and Melvin Gordon, and obviously wide receivers with Judy and maybe Judy, Cortland Sutton and guys of that nature, and they got that monstrous defense. But I don't see how they could compete in a division that have a whole bunch of superstar quarterbacks if those quarterbacks are starting for those other teams in that division in the AFC West, right? I don't see it. There might be another team in the AFC West that could possibly do that, but I don't know if the Broncos would be able to do that. Do you?
No, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not that familiar with Josh Johnson's, but there again, I'm not as high on the defense this year. I think they're going to take a step back, where I know I'm sort of in the minority there. And I mean, Russell Wilson is, you go from Russell Wilson to either of these guys, and there's a massive fall off. Okay. And I feel like with the Colts, the fall off was a little less. Here, it's quite large. And like you said, it's not going to be an easy day with, that whole AFC, defensive line bearing down on them, 2 games each, team a year. So I don't think so. But there again, I'm not as high on Denver as a lot of people are.
Exactly. I'm not either. Now, they do have a great home field advantage, obviously. Moving on to another team in the AFC West where the starter goes down, I don't think they become a playoff contender. I think they drop completely right out, and that's the Raiders, right? Mm-hmm. Their backup right now is Jared Stidham. I mean, we all got to see Jared Stidham with the Patriots, right, 2 years ago, and it was not a pretty situation. Carr just has this ability to lift the team in dire circumstances and get them to the playoffs. We saw that last year. I don't think Stidham has that. And the same can be said with the Chargers, right? With Chase Daniel being their backup quarterback. I just don't see, even though they got this great team around them and a good defense, I just don't see Chase Daniel being that type of quarterback. I mean, we got to see quite a bit of Chase with the Texans, right? I don't see him as a guy that can lift the Chargers team to the playoffs, especially when their starting quarterback hadn't been able to do that the last 2 years.
Yeah, and to your point, I mean, both of these quarterbacks are what I like to call eraser quarterbacks. They can erase mistakes. I mean, they can sit there and they know the offense well enough, and they have enough talent where we had it with Andrew Luck. Even though it wasn't quite the right route, Andrew Luck threw him open, made that mistake not nearly as bad. You go to these guys' backups, and now all of a sudden those mistakes really start glaring.
Absolutely. Going to the last team in the West, we're talking about all these big time quarterbacks, right? The Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes goes down. They still, I think, have a shot. Not a great shot, but a shot, because Chad Henne has been with the Chiefs for a while, knows the system, knows the players, knows everything about this team. And we've seen Henne play with the Chiefs and win games against good teams. Do I think that they can stay a Super Bowl favorite? No. But I think that Henne gives them at least a shot because he understands the team. What are your thoughts about Chad Henne and the Chiefs?
Yeah, and just to double down on that stability, I mean, like you said, not only does he know the other players, but the other players know him. They know where he wants them. Sorry, guys, on the routes and stuff. So it just makes that transition a lot smoother. Whereas, like you said, you get a lot of these guys that just haven't had any experience, I mean, other than whatever practice time and stuff, but that's still not game reps.
Yeah, exactly. Now we talked about the Colts already, and I want to talk about the other team, right? What if the Titans lose Ryan Tannehill? They drafted a quarterback last year in Willis. Could he, as a rookie, lift this team to the playoffs?
No. And that's just because I'm trying not to be rude. All right. I was not a Malik Willis fan. I had Ritter and a couple of other quarterbacks going way before that young man. I mean, I know he was the talk of the draft, and I feel like a lot of that was just trying to sell the quarterbacks, you know what I mean? Because this year wasn't real sexy in the quarterbacks room. But short and sweet, I don't think that he's going to be a starting caliber quarterback at all, in all honesty.
Oh, wow. That's a bold statement considering, a
I
lot
know.
of people. But hey, I want to go to the North, the AFC North, and we're going to start with a team that really hasn't had excellent quarterback play over the last 3 years, and that's the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? But could they We don't even know who their starting quarterback is going to be this year, right? I mean, you got Mitch Trubisky, you got Kenny Pickett, obviously Mason Rudolph is still there. We don't even know who the starter is going to be. A lot of people say it could be Trubisky. A lot of people say it could be the rookie Pickett. If one of those guys goes down, could the other guy bring them to the playoffs, or are they even a playoff contender this year?
I'm sorry to say this, Joe. Okay, I know you're a Steelers fan, but no. I mean, I don't care who's running that show right now. I feel like there's still enough pieces missing that I don't even think that they're going to be in a playoff contender, no matter who their starting or backup quarterback is, because the AFC is so loaded this year.
If this was last year and we had these quarterbacks to go over and say, okay, if Big Ben went down for the season, could these guys? I would say yes. But I'm going to agree with they lost two of their best receivers in the offseason, which kind of puts now, granted, they went out and got somebody, right? But at the same time, he's new. Now, this defense, we all know this defense is good enough to lift a team and win games by itself. Right. That's why I put them right on that edge. Right. I do. I put it right because that defense is so aggressive and opportunistic that things can happen. Right. Mm-hmm. They could just win a game just off their defense against a good team. So I'm going to put them. I'm going to agree with you on the no, but so close. Right. So close, in my opinion. Staying with the North, though, we got the Bengals. Right. Now, we all know Joe Burrow last year, he was like, screw this. I don't care what you're thinking about the Bengals. I'm taking us to the Super Bowl. All right. But what if week one he goes down with an injury? Can Brandon Allen do the same thing or at least, propel them enough to get them to the playoffs?
I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't think that Joe Burrow could do it last year, okay? And that was not a knock on Joe Burrow. I just felt like that offensive line and stuff. But Joe Burrow is a special cat. And that relationship that he has with, his number one receiver and stuff. I mean, I don't think Allen's going to have that relationship and that understanding. And I think that is going to be enough that it would make a massive fall off for them. And like I said, Joe Burrow is another one of those eraser guys. The offensive line is not playing real great. Here, let me just do this and that, and then all of a sudden I'll rip your heart out for 35 yards. So, yeah, I would sit there and say that if they lost Joe Burrow, that their season would be more disappointing than last year. Let's just put it that way.
Let's talk about the Browns real quick. I'm not going to put a lot of effort into this. Now, most people think that Watson's going to get a 1-year suspension. We all know that Baker Mayfield is not going to play for them. He's already made that statement. They're looking at Jacoby Brissett as their starting quarterback. I don't know if the Browns could make the playoffs with Jacoby Brissett, let alone if he goes down week one and they got to go with whoever is bagging groceries currently for, the local, grocery store. So that's my opinion on the Browns.
Yeah. And here again, this is a roster that is just very loaded. But you sit there and you take away. I mean, we've seen what Jacoby Brissett can do with a loaded roster. God bless him. He just he doesn't have the gambler in him or whatever to make some of those plays that you just need to have to get into the playoffs. And like you said, after that, if it gets worse than that, then no, I feel like that's going to be a bad ending.
The only chance I think they have is if Brissett goes down and they go out and get, say, maybe Jimmy Garoppolo. That puts them in that slim margin, in my opinion. Last team for the North, the Ravens. Lamar Jackson is a dynamic player in the NFL, an extraordinary athlete. But Bret Huntley is a quarterback that played a lot of good snaps last year for them and nearly got them to the playoffs themselves. Could Bret Huntley duplicate that if he had to start week one through the entire season and possibly get them to the playoffs?
This is an emphatic yes. As far as backups go, I feel like Huntley fits, Lamar Jackson and this Ravens team perfectly. Like you said, he did a lot of damage last year, and I mean, heck, they were on like their 5th running back. You know, I mean, they were decimated with injuries, and he still, and Lamar was one of those, you know, but he still, you know, helped propel this team and keep them competitive. So you sit there and you give him a healthy team around him, and you know, I love the way he fits in there. You know, I mean, I'm not saying that he is Lamar Jackson. That's not what I'm trying to say. But what I am saying is, I love the way his mobility and just what the Ravens like to do. I like the way Huntley fits into there.
I agree. I think the Ravens still are a very dangerous team. They're obviously not as dangerous with Huntley as they are with Jackson, but you know, they're still dangerous, especially with the fact that he fits that offensive scheme that they've got going. Let's go back now to the East. We're going to start off, bam, all the way down there with the Jets. Obviously, Zach Wilson. They didn't make the playoffs in the first place. I don't think they have a shot with Joe Flacco or Mike White being the quarterback if Wilson goes down. Your thoughts on that?
Well, no, I mean, even though the Colts defense made White look much better than what he was a couple years ago, I agree with you. I mean, I'm not even sure if they're a playoff caliber team with, you know, Ryan Wilson at the helm, let alone, you know, the other guy, Flacco, and them. So there again, build that team up. I think they're on the right path. I liked a lot of the moves they made, but I'm just not even sure if they're a playoff team yet.
Let's go to the New England Patriots. And Mac Jones had a pretty darn good rookie season, got them to the playoffs as a rookie. But, man, if he goes down, you're looking at Bailey Zapp and Brian Hoyer. All right? I mean, yeah, I'm not 100% sure there's a shot in hell here.
Yeah, there again, another team that even with Mac Jones, they're a fringe playoff team. You know, without Mac Jones, I feel like that fringe is just going to vaporize.
Absolutely. Moving on to the Miami Dolphins, where Tua right here. We know him. He's played with injuries, right? But they've got Teddy Bridgewater as their backup, right? So, you know, Teddy has been kind of a backup for the last few years. Miami is looking to be the second team in the East. Could they still be the second team and have a shot at the playoffs with Teddy being their starting quarterback?
Well, and I know this ain't going to go over well, but you know I'm not a Tua Tagovailoa kind of guy. Okay, I think their shot is better with Teddy Bridgewater running the helm, and it's not okay. This is actually it is to slight Tua, but the thing is I like Teddy Bridgewater. He's got a lot of veteran experience, and this, like you said, this roster that they put around him and stuff. My biggest question with Miami is coaching. What's the coaching and how much damage was done with Tua over the last couple of years of you're the starter, you're not the starter, you're the starter again. You know what I mean? So this team, for me, of all 32 teams, this is the hardest team to put my finger on.
Okay. Last team that we're going to go with the AFC, and thank you so much for going over this. I know that you're not follower of a lot of these teams very closely, but hey, you know what? You're a closet Bills fan. If Josh Allen, and I'm going to say so am I, if Josh Allen goes down, though, that's a major drop. That is that might be the biggest, you know, bad situation. But hey, they got Case Keenum back there. You know, they got. So, what do you think?
Oh, and there again, veteran experience, been there, done that. He's played the starting quarterback. He's played the backup role. Another roster. You look at this roster. I mean, guys, you look for a weak spot, and I mean, you've got to get a magnifying glass to find a weak spot. So once again, a la like the Colts, you know, build the roster, make it more than just one man. And then I know this term is used as a negative, but just manage the game. You know what I mean? Go out there, let your playmakers do what they do. And I feel like Case Keenum is very well suited for that role. And like I said, that Buffalo Bills team is loaded.
Absolutely. It is. Well, thanks so much for watching, guys. Please don't forget to smash that like button. Hit subscribe if you're not subscribed. Tag that notification bell so that you are notified next time we go live or upload a video. And don't forget to share this video to your favorite social media. It helps us a lot. And until next time, I'm Lawrence Owen. That's Colts Loyalist. And as usual, have a good one.
just because a player's not a household name doesn't mean we can't make him a household name.